I let him sleep on the couch. He don't want to sleep upstairs yet. I go, it's coming. So I'll sleep with you the first night, but after that, you got to stay by yourself with stuffed animals. Ready? Hey, I'm good. Better than I deserve. A little tired, but aren't we all? Is there anybody here? Is there anybody here who's getting too much sleep and needs more to do? I need you to come. There's a bunch of us need to borrow you at our house. I always told my kids the servants aren't showing up. You know, like somebody else isn't going to come pick up and clean up all this stuff for you. I don't really think I need a tablet, do I? Okay, it's 11:30. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Second.
Ms. Shirley first.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, item A, governing body. Mr. Drummond, you take it from here, right?
All right. Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you all recall, we had a special call meeting for basically the same thing on July 25th, and we approved an IGA with Douglas County and the other cities within Douglas County on a T-SPLOST. If T-SPLOST passes on the referendum in November, then how we would distribute those funds. And if you read my cover letter, and I'll go through it or the cover page, I'll go through it briefly, the history of this. Several weeks ago, we got word of a meeting with the county and the cities about a T-SPLOST program, and it almost felt like it was an afterthought to include us. I think we got word at the last minute. We got there. I think everybody else kind of knew what was going on, but we were invited very late in the process, and we got there. And some of the other cities had street list projects prepared. Our engineers didn't know this was happening. We didn't. There had been no communication from their attorney to our office or to council about this. So we got there, and on that date, we were given a draft IGA that had a distribution to Villa Rica of 5.04%, which was the same as our SPLOST distribution. So that was negotiated when we negotiated SPLOST, and that was the percentage we were given. There was some back and forth. Since that time, we had a lost distribution that had us at 5.35%. So the night before our last special call meeting, the county attorney updated the IGA with us at 5.35%, and all the other cities at the same percentages they were in the lost negotiations. We met, we approved that. So that was a Thursday. That Friday, the county attorney, Douglas County attorney, distributed an email to all the involved city attorneys saying, Villa Rica has approved this. This is what Douglas County intends to approve at our next meeting. The next week, which is this week, we get an email from the county attorney saying, we intend to approve the following distribution. Didn't have an IGA attached, but it had the distribution numbers, which had us back at 5.04%, which caused all the city attorneys to start saying, what's going on here? I mean, what are we agreeing to? And it sounds like Douglasville and Douglas County are on the same page to use the SPLOST number, so that's what Douglas County will approve next week. We don't have another it has to be approved by the 7th. We don't have another meeting before the 7th. That's why we've asked you to come in on such short notice to talk about this. With SPLOST, there is a formula. If we decided not to accept that and not participate, then there is a formula that would determine how much we get. We're not just simply left out of it altogether if we don't agree to that. However, it's a fairly complicated formula. We have to take the center line road mileage of the city that's in Douglas County, divided by the center line road mileage for the entire county, multiplied time a fraction. I think that is multiplied by 0.33. I'm sorry, that's multiplied by 0.67, and then we take the population in the city divided by the entire population of Douglas County times 0.33. You add those together to come up with a number.
You lost me.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
Yeah, it lost me too. I mean, we had a lawyer trying to do math, and these are my notes.
Did you do the math and come
I
up
did
with
the
a number?
math, and I called our engineers, or the engineers we used, to make sure I was at least in the ballpark, and I had to call them to actually get these numbers. I mean, to get the mileage numbers and all that. So our best guess, if we don't participate, we're going to be about 4.7%, so less. So it's still, although they're going down, it still makes sense to go with the SPLOST number of 5.04%. So that's the only difference. That's why we got you out of your schedules to come back together today.
Any
So-
questions?
And so the Douglasville, so all the other cities in Douglas County at one point agreed, and Douglas County agreed to have it at the lost amount, which was
Well-
higher for everyone.
We were the only city that actually had a meeting.
Okay.
Other cities had meetings scheduled before Douglas County was going to
Mhm.
approve already, regular schedule. So we were the only one that actually voted on a number.
But at least among, I guess, the email back and forth,
That's right.
talking about Austell and Mableton and Douglasville and Villa Rica, and
That's-
I know I'm missing one other city, am I
think
not?
that's it.
Okay. They all agree, everyone agreed to be at the loss percentages. And then it came back, and Douglas County and Douglasville had the numbers changed. And so are we the only ones that are going to be less than what our loss percentage is, or is Austell and Mableton also?
And Douglasville's less.
Okay.
And Douglasville actually said in their email, we always understood it was going to be the SPLOST number, although Douglas County's lawyer prepared the IGA we approved and distributed that, and said that that was be what they would be approving at their meeting.
And any like rationale as to why to use the loss number, use the SPLOST number instead of the loss number?
No.
Okay.
Okay, well, it does make sense for the lower, to use the numbers based on what you came up with. Morally, it doesn't make sense for them to use a population that's less than what we currently have, and they're going to be collecting money from this point forward, and our population is still growing. So I think it sounds like they're kind of sticking it to us, to try to make us use the whole population, but to collect money on today's basis of the people that's in Douglas County and Villa Rica. I have some heartburn doing that, I really do, even though it's going to give us a lower number.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like we have much of an option, though.
Not happy about the way this process is played through.
But if we choose not to do this, what's going to happen?
Well,
I'm just asking a question.
Under the statute, they would at least have to apply that formula. So we wouldn't be just left with no collections. And I can't tell you, either SPLOST or LOST, one of those does not have a absentee city formula. So if you don't participate in one of those, you could be, and the other counties didn't, or the counties and cities didn't protect you, then you could be out with nothing. But that's not the case here. We would still get something. It would just be less.
Less than what they're asking now.
Right. And I think that between the two numbers, if for every million that's collected, it's $3,100 difference.
Between the two numbers, between the 5.4 and the 5.35 and the 5.04 is $3,100 for every $1 million.
That's right.
So it's not that. It's significant, but it's not. it's not,
It depends on how much you collect overall.
Right.
I mean, when you get into the hundreds of millions,
right,
it's a number.
yeah, could be $30,000 or so,
Yeah.
I think, if that's right, my math.
Well, I know we'll have to decide, but just what's your take on this?
I think it makes sense to, even though it's a lower number, go ahead and agree to it rather than
Get nothing.
either, well, I don't think we get
Or
nothing.
get less.
But we may end up in protracted arguments about what we get, whether it's through that formula or the lower amount.
I see Mr. Reese nodding his head as well, in agreement with you.
So, yeah, because if we denied it, then that number would go from 5.04 to 4.7, correct?
Could.
Possibly.
That's correct.
And when you're talking about that $3,100 difference, with them lowering that percentage, that difference between 4.7 and 5.04 is probably more significant than the other, correct?
It would be. I could do some quick math, but that might be dangerous.
That's 3,100
Okay, I've
per
had
million,
three
right?
heads nodding yes, that I respect your professional opinion, so I'm good. But if anybody else has any other questions or, we'll,
I do have a comment.
Okay.
So look, moving forward, I think we need to be at the table ahead of everything else, because I feel the same way Kevin does. It almost felt like when we came to the meeting that we were sort of the redheaded stepchild in a way, and we don't need to be that way. And to do that, we need to have an active communication with Douglas County to be on the front end of it. I think we even left out of
the initial
Yeah, the handouts
paperwork
that were
we
given.
got didn't have our name
was
in
not
the
included in
contract
that, so.
or intergovernmental agreement.
We
That's
just-
why I
we-
didn't have many comments when we got there and they asked. I go, I didn't know what we were doing yet because I hadn't had any advance information, but this is where we are. And it will all depend ultimately on if the voters pass it. If the voters don't pass it, it'll be a non-issue.
That's correct. That's correct.
I actually would encourage the voters to vote the thing down since Bill Rucker's we've been the red-headed stepchild for quite a long time. They haven't brought us up to the right level yet,
That's
even though our population is still increasing in Douglas County. So I'm not going to encourage people to vote for it, no.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, I'll entertain a motion. Well, at least I think. Oh, we just, I'm sorry, I don't have it. There it is. There it is. I'll entertain a motion.
Guess I'll make a motion to approve the modification to the, here's the motion. I move to approve the intergovernmental agreement for transportation special purpose local option sales tax with the Douglas County.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? 3-1.
That passes
No.
3-1.
Do we have anyone signed in for public comment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I don't have the list, but that's okay. Miss Alita Farmer Dobbs, come on up.
Hi, good afternoon. I don't really have any comment per se, but I would like to just share. I would like that the city would take some time to hold some town hall meetings to go over the slush fund and the TAD to better educate the citizens. I have personally been doing a lot of this homework on my own and having to play catch up. And I have a full-time job, and this is very time consuming. I am coming out because I found out that it was, we may have said a lot of things about Shirley, but I do have to take some accountability for the fact that we had not been showing up. And this is very time consuming, I will have to say. But I do have some concerns about how the slosh and how it works and the impact that it had on our community. So I'm just putting that out there, and really would like to know more accountability as to how that money is being spent, especially with the involvement that it has in our current neighborhood. Since I know the slosh funds has a lot to do with the work that has been done in our neighborhood, or the work is to be done in our neighborhood. So again, I'm just going to encourage you all that please go ahead and start setting up some town hall meetings for not just the community that my father resides in, but for the city of Villa Rica. If we don't show up, then that's bad, that's shame on us. But you can't say that we're not trying to know what's going on in the city when everything that all we can do is come up here and have public comments when nobody cannot tell us nothing. This is not effective communication. And so I'm just asking that the city take it upon themselves to structure some town hall meetings so that we can ask some of these questions to the officials. And I hope that y'all all take that in consideration. And just to let you know, I'll be showing up. Miss Pam will be showing up. We are now known as the Heritage Coalition, Preservation Coalition. So we will be showing up to support our community. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Although we don't engage in a back and forth, just something that I think might be helpful. Now, it's true, I know sometimes you have town halls and nobody shows, but instead of creating something new, and I'm not talking about the town hall, if we could check and see if we have any type of PowerPoint that explains this. I know we do with the TAD. I believe we even had one that was like a video with Sarah's voice that kind of explained it. If not, we have a PowerPoint, so we may not have to create anything for that to use either in a meeting or to be able to share with people, put it out there, just like we're going to do with the budget one. That'll be put out there on the website. People, even if they didn't come to a town hall, they would be able to access kind of like like a do-it-yourself video, only this would be, a citizen education video that has even been used for us. So it doesn't have anything to do with even sometimes how much you stay up on government. Sometimes we're doing new things like a TAD. We hadn't done a tax allocation district before, so it required a lot of education for the governing body, not just the citizens. So maybe we can see what we've already got that explains any of this, and if we don't have anything for SPLOST, I know we do for the Douglas County side, it was broken down into buckets and everything else. Yeah, okay. So let's use this, even whether we do a town hall or not, that'll be up to, everyone, but let's use this and make sure the public gets it. The only difference between not being there together is people being able to ask questions. But let's see what we already got so we don't reinvent, the wheel if we've got something already on file. So we do for that, and I don't know exactly what we have for the SPLOST, and the setup, I believe, is different on the Douglas County side, the way it was put into percentages. Am I correct on that? Okay, because that goes back quite a few years. That's all I have to say about that. Aren't you glad? So if there's no other questions or concerns up here, then I'll adjourn this meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? We're adjourned. Of a motion to adjourn. Yes, that's right.